That one felt pretty good, did it not? The Philadelphia Phillies with a huge 13-7 series opening victory over the Chicago Cubs last night on Monday to kick off that three-game home series at Citizens Bank Park. Finally, we got to see this offense find its groove and not just score runs in one inning. They spread it across pretty much the whole game, multiple innings. It was nice to see the offense finally kind of explode there. We saw it in Colorado with that 10-1 win, but that really only happened in the first three innings of that ball game, and then the rest of the game, they did absolutely nothing. This game, they scored a few runs here and there, mostly in the fifth and sixth innings. I'll get into that just a little bit. But the Phillies with a big 13-7 series opening win against the Chicago Cubs, starting the series on the right foot. They do have game 2 here tonight on Tuesday, 6:40 p.m. first pitch, again at Citizens Bank Park for game 2 against the Cubs. Aaron Nola is on the mound, so hopefully the veteran can keep the momentum going, and get this Phillies already a series victory over the Cubs heading into tomorrow's series finale. But we still have to get through tonight, so there's that. Also, shout out to the Philadelphia Flyers. They finally clinched a playoff spot for the first time since the 2019-2020 season. So if you're a hockey fan, if you're a Flyers fan, that's exciting times. It's been a while, so enjoy the ride. They play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Can't really ask for a better matchup there. Awesome rivalry matchup. Reminds me of when I was younger growing up. I know I'm still pretty young, but that was the big rivalry. Flyers, Penguins, they hate each other. It's almost like the Eagles, Cowboys in the NFL. Anyway, welcome into Phillies Daily, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Hennelly. Make sure you guys subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. It's much appreciated. Make sure you guys are also checking us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now, Phillies Daily is available on both of those platforms. So if you prefer those platforms, or if you can't tune into YouTube for whatever reason, we're available there. You can just search up Phillies Daily on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and see all the same videos you would see here. Make sure you guys are leaving us reviews there as well. That's much appreciated too. Let's get into the topics today. Before I talk about yesterday's game, in case you missed the game, or if you just want to hear me talk about the game, because that's what we're here for, to talk about Philadelphia Phillies baseball. First, there was a roster move. There was a little bit of injury news that came out. I believe it was Sunday night this news happened, but we actually saw the roster move come into effect yesterday in that ball game as well. We saw kind of the move that was the corresponding move to the injury, and I'm talking about the Phillies did place right-handed reliever Jonathan Bolin on the 15-day IL with a strained right groin. Now, Jonathan Bolin, he is obviously a newer bullpen addition this offseason. He was the guy that the Phillies acquired from the Kansas City Royals in that Matt Strahm trade. He's been all right so far in the early parts of the season. Nothing crazy, nothing horrible. He has a 3.86 ERA with 8 strikeouts across his first 7 innings and 7 appearances with the Phillies in 2026. He will now be out for a few games, a week or two, however long that is, 15-day IL, 2 weeks. So he is on the IL, and in the corresponding move, the Phillies did recall right-handed pitcher Seth Johnson from AAA Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. I apologize again, as I do in a lot of these videos. My computer's old. Sometimes I have spotty Wi-Fi as well. So if you're watching on YouTube, the video may be lagging, but the audio never lags. So again, it's not like you're seeing much here. You're just watching my lips move. Pay attention to the words, not my face if you're on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, I apologize for the lagging video. Let's get right back into this, though. Seth Johnson recalled after in that corresponding move from the Jonathan Bolin IL. Seth Johnson, I thought he was going to make the Phillies, or had a legit chance of making the Phillies opening day roster this year for the 2026 season. He was very good in spring training. He impressed. In spring training with the Phillies, he had a 1.86 ERA in his 9 2/3 innings pitched throughout spring. He was one of the better guys out of the bullpen, but unfortunately for him, he just did not make the opening day roster. He is with the team right now, and he was all right so far in AAA with the Iron Pigs. He had a 3.00 ERA with 11 strikeouts across 6 innings of work, 6 appearances in AAA this year so far before being called up to the Phillies in this corresponding move from Jonathan Bolin heading to the IL. Now, I did mention we saw this kind of happen last night because Seth Johnson did immediately get into some game action with the Phillies last night. They were a big, I forget what the score was at the time, maybe 13 to 2 or 13-3 at the time when he came in. So a huge lead, and it was probably a good thing that he had a huge lead. Now, he did come in for his first inning of work. He pitched a scoreless 7th inning in his first inning of work for the Phillies. So good stuff out of Seth Johnson right there. They did put him back out there for the 8th inning with a big lead. He's a guy that has experience going multiple innings in the past in his professional career. So they kind of did that to save the bullpen. You know, they had the whole little bullpen stuff going on the game before on Sunday when Andrew Painter was scratched from the start. Ultimately, Zach Pop pitched those first 2 innings. Andrew Painter did come in, pitch those 5 innings, and then they had some more bullpen guys after that. So that's what happened. That's what they're kind of dealing with. Maybe that's why they wanted to try to save some bullpen arms and have Seth Johnson go for a 2nd inning. Ultimately, wasn't the best move maybe, but again, they were lucky they had a big lead because he got sent out there for the 8th inning after the scoreless 7th inning. Good stuff again out of Seth Johnson. But that 8th inning, he did get into some trouble. Now, not all his own fault he was in that trouble. Some defensive miscues, which is still a recurring issue here in the early parts of the season. Just some way too many defensive mistakes. There were a few in that 8th inning. He did allow 5 runs. Not only 3 of those runs were earned runs charged to Seth Johnson in the 8th inning, and he was ultimately replaced with 2 outs by Orion Kirkring, who ended up getting the 3rd and final out of the 8th inning, and then he also got the 3 outs in the 9th inning. So shout out Orion Kirkring, kind of shutting the door there and kind of stopping any kind of crazy late inning comeback by the Chicago Cubs, because again, the Phillies were up big and then they did score those 5 runs in the 8th inning to make it a little interesting. It was still 13-7, so still 6-run lead, but still, you never know the way this season has been going for the Phillies. So good first inning out of Seth Johnson in the 7th, little shaky in the 8th inning, some mistakes by himself, some mistakes by his defense, but the Phillies ultimately got the win, and that's really all that matters. So let's talk about the win a little bit here, as we always do, talk about the games going on. The Phillies did dominate the Cubs. I already hit on the offense having a nice day. Maybe not the best day overall for Phillies pitching. For the starter, Christopher Sanchez even. Again, Seth Johnson there in the 8th inning. But overall, let's talk about the positives. The Phillies offense finally woke up here in that series opener last night against the Cubs in that 13-7 victory. Kyle Schwarber, the Schwarbarian, got things started for the Phillies with a solo home run in the first inning. That was his 5th home run so far this season in 2026. Gave Christopher Sanchez an early 1-0 lead, which is awesome. You always want to give your pitchers those early leads because it just helps them settle into a game more. Not that Christopher Sanchez really needs that the way he pitches and the talent that he has, but any early lead for any pitcher, no matter who you are, it just makes you feel so much better, more confident in your stuff. So Kyle Schwarber gave his pitcher Christopher Sanchez an early 1-0 lead with his 5th home run of 2026. Kyle Schwarber also hit another Schwarbomb later, 2 innings later, in the 3rd inning. It was a 2-run home run this time, 2nd home run of the game, 6th home run of 2026. Gave the Phillies an early 4-0 lead because they also scored another run. I think JT Realmuto at that point, shout out JT Realmuto. He had 3 hits, I believe, 3 RBIs. So that was one of his RBIs earlier in the ball game. So good stuff there. 4-0 lead, 2 home runs for Kyle Schwarber. Alec Boehm also notably in that 3rd inning. He hit a single which snapped an 0-for-17 stretch at the plate for Alec Boehm. Hasn't been the start of the season offensively for him that he was hoping for, or Phillies fans were hoping for. But hopefully that kind of gets him out of his little funk here and gets him going kind of into that all-star caliber hitting ability that we all know Alec Boehm has shown in the past. He's been an all-star. He's been in the home run derby. So hopefully Alec Boehm can get going because that lineup is so much better when he's has stuff working for him, driving the balls into gaps, doubles, RBIs, all that kind of stuff. So good for him ending that 0-for-17 stretch. Hopefully, again, that's a sign of good things to come for Alec Boehm. The Phillies did break things open in the 5th inning. They scored 5 runs in that 5th inning, and they also scored 3 more runs in the very next inning, in the 6th inning. So they took a huge lead and never really looked back. As we all know, they scored other runs throughout the ballgame, but that was kind of their 2 main innings of work there in the 5th and 6th inning. That was 8 runs between those 2 innings of their 13 runs. Obviously, Kyle Schwarber had those 2 early home runs as well. Again, JT Realmuto had 3 RBIs, I believe, at least 3 hits. So great stuff out of the Phillies offense. Ultimately, They finished as a collective with 15 hits, those 13 runs, and they only struck out 5 times last night, which is great to see. They've been striking out a lot this season, double-digit strikeout games, a lot so far here in the early parts of 2026. So 5 strikeouts, when you're striking out that little in a ball game as a team, that good things are happening. You're getting on base, you're driving in runs, you're making things happen on the base pass, and that's a winning formula. That's how you win ball games. And hopefully, not every game is going to be like this. Obviously, they're not going to score 13 runs. They're not going to strike out 5 times as a team. But if you can keep it close to that, not the 13 runs, obviously, but not strike out a ton, then you're going to have a chance to be a very good team. And hopefully, again, as a collective, this is a sign of good things to come for the Phillies offense. Again, I did mention not the best day for Christopher Sanchez. Outside of his opening day start, he really has been a little bit shaky here and there. But this was Christopher Sanchez's final line last night against the Cubs. He went 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks. Again, a little bit of command issues, uncharacteristic out of Christopher Sanchez. 2 earned runs. Both of those 2 earned runs came in a 4th inning 2-run home run by Chicago Cubs Dansby Swanson, former Atlanta Braves. So you probably know that name from the past. If you're not a religious MLB fan, follower, you're just a fan of the Phillies, you probably know Dansby Swanson's name for his time with the Braves for all those years before signing with the Cubs not too long ago, a few years ago. But 6 innings, 6 hits, 3 walks, 2 earned runs off of that 2-run home run in the 4th inning by Swanson, and 8 strikeouts in those 6 innings, plus the win for Christopher Sanchez. So I say not his best day, mostly because of those 3 walks and letting up that home run. But still, 8 strikeouts in 6 innings. You'll take that. You'll take the win. Only 2 earned runs. That is a great line for any pitcher. A bad day for Christopher Sanchez, or I should say bad day in quotes for Christopher Sanchez, is a good day for the majority of starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. And again, shaky to start the season. Look at his overall numbers so far through his first couple starts. So many pitchers in Major League Baseball would wish to have the lines that Christopher Sanchez has. So maybe he's in a little bit of a funk right now command-wise, but I have no doubt that he'll get these things figured out as the season goes on. He's got a long way to go here in 2026, and I have no doubt he's going to be right up there in the Cy Young conversation yet again here by the end of the year. Now, getting off of last night's ball game, we all know hasn't been a great start to the Phillies season. It's been a lot of frustration, a little bit of annoyance as well. And that kind of shows in a lot of these updated power rankings heading into the new week here. A lot of outlets, media outlets, sports sites, all sports platforms putting out their updated power rankings as they usually do to start the week on Monday. So the ones that I saw, Bleacher Report first, updated MLB power rankings, had the Phillies maybe way surprising to a lot of you, maybe not just because of the way they started. And this is probably how power rankings should be, because power rankings, in my opinion, are the teams that are playing well at that time, that specific time, not what they're expected to play like, not what they could play like, what they're playing like right now. Bleacher Report had the Phillies at number 27 out of the 30 MLB teams. Maybe that is a ridiculous ranking, a lot, especially compared to the other rankings I'm going to let you guys know here. But previously they had the Phillies at number 8 in their last power rankings, dropped all the way to 27. But we'll see. Maybe the Phillies finally found something going here last night with that win, and they can get back up there into the top 10 unanimously across all these sites and platforms. MLB.com's updated power rankings had the Phillies at number 9, probably a lot more realistic than that number 27 ranking. So top 10 still. They dropped just 1 spot from their previous ranking by MLB.com. They were at 8 before, now at 9. CBS Sports updated power rankings had the Phillies at number 16, still excuse me, a lot more realistic than that number 27 from Bleacher Report. But in CBS Sports, they went from number 6 the previous week to number 16, so dropped 10 spots because, again, they went 1-2 against the Giants and then 1-2 against the Diamondbacks. And hopefully things are changing here for the Phillies after that big win against the Cubs last night. But again, 16 right there in the middle of the pack of the MLB, kind of probably a fair ranking there. As was Fox Sports' updated power rankings, had the Phillies at number 13, previously number 7 in their rankings. So again, pretty similar drop to the CBS Sports rankings. So as a collective, Phillies are kind of a middle of the pack team, I would say right now. And you know, you really can't argue that. They haven't been great. They haven't been horrible. A lot of the league really is around 500 baseball outside of a couple of teams right now. So a lot of players, a lot of teams kind of struggling to start the season, as you would expect in the early parts of a season. It's a long way to go, as I keep telling you guys. One guy that's off to a great start for the Phillies, maybe not so much last night, but overall to start his rookie year, Justin Crawford. He has been awesome. He's been fun to watch so far. A lot of people has little concerns with Justin Crawford heading into his rookie campaign just because of his inability to hit for power, get the ball up in the air. But he worked really hard all off season. We all know he has elite speed. We all know that he can get on base. He can steal bases. He can make things happen with infield hits, bunts, all that kind of stuff. And then he's been working on driving the ball, getting it in the air, hitting it into the gaps. And he's been doing that so far. Justin Crawford, he's been kind of having this veteran-like mindset to start his rookie campaign as such a young guy. He's, 22 years old, first year in Major League Baseball. He's 15 games into his Major League career. Just listen to this quote that I saw the other day from Justin Crawford about his mindset so far throughout his early parts of his MLB career and the success that he's had so far through his first couple weeks in Major League Baseball. Justin Crawford said, quote, "You've got to take it one at-bat at a time. That's kind of where I'm at, good or bad. Some days you get hits, some days you don't. We play a lot of games here. I'm learning that really quick. A lot of quick turnarounds, so no matter what the day is, no matter what you did yesterday, it's flipping the page and being ready to go the next day." A lot of players need to just have this mindset, whether you're a veteran, whether you're a rookie, whether you've been a couple years in the league, whether you've been playing in the league forever. This mindset is the perfect mindset to have if you're anybody. You have to have a short memory. You have to, baseball, it's such a long season. You're playing every day. You can't let things get to you because it's such a mental game. And if you're messing up mentally, then it's going to show on the field physically, and you're just not going to have the numbers that you want. Justin Crawford obviously having early success here in his rookie campaign. He's batting .306 with 4 doubles and 1 triple. Obviously also has that walk-off hit earlier in the season. So he's been off to a tremendous start. Again, not so much last night. In fact, he was the only starter in the Phillies lineup, having those 15 hits, 13 runs that they had against the Cubs last night. Only starter in the Phillies lineup without a hit last night in that 13-7 win over the Cubs. He was 0 for 5. But again, those games are going to happen. Sometimes it's just not going to go your way, as he said in that quote. And hopefully, and I have no doubt, if he's in the lineup here tonight, he'll get a hit, maybe 2, maybe 3. Who knows? But I've been so happy with Justin Crawford. I was high on him coming into his Major League career. I know a lot of you guys had some concerns and a lot of other Philadelphia fans, but he's showing what he can do, and hopefully this is sustainable, and hopefully he has a long, long, long and bright future here with the Phillies. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Phillies Daily. I'm your host, Mike Kennelly. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Phillies content right here on Phillies Daily. Sorry for a little bit of a longer episode. Had a lot to talk about here. Great win by the Phillies last night. Hopefully they get another one here tonight. 6:40 first pitch. Game 2 of this 3-game series against the Cubs at Citizens Bank Park. The veteran Aaron Nola on the mound, looking to already win this series for the Phillies, heading into potentially a sweep for tomorrow. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We got to win a ball game here tonight. So with that, again, Phillies Daily available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts now. Make sure you guys go check us out there. If it's easier for you, if you prefer that platform, or if you just want to check it out, give it a little bit of a difference here, then YouTube. Leave us some reviews, would be much appreciated. And keep on tuning in here, YouTube as well. It's always awesome to see what you guys have to say, and always awesome to see you guys engaging with this channel. Thank you guys for watching. Great stuff by the Flyers last night, clinching a playoff spot. Great stuff by the Phillies, getting a huge series opening win. I apologize for the laggy video if you're watching here on YouTube. Tough video today, but again, the audio is always fine. As always, go Phils.